planet Earth's richest men in the space exploration industry have been searching for the holy grail of technology to take themselves among the stars and vast voids of space for years. So far leading the race is the Federation of Russia, with the Chinese not so far behind. But however, on the 6th day of the second lunar month, the Corporation of America peacocked its advancement into the space race, headed by SpaceX founder Elon Musk, who splurged over millions of dollars to muscle through the competitors, flying his robotic space machines into space. The launch of Falcon Heavy is Elon's latest model of his space rocket series. The purpose of this rocket was to test just how great Elon Musk's rocket is, and its test run was a terrific contribution to the untold space wars. Elon Musk, in a last-minute call, added his own personal Tesla Roadster as a trophy of his belief in success to the cargo. He also strapped up a robot man in the driving seat. The car would be released and simulate a satellite that would orbit around Mars on the rocket's projected arrival. The project, however, was an over-success, as the Roadster car has surpassed Mars and is in orbit towards the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. This is all a test, says Elon Musk in the mainstream media. However, as amazing and pleasant was it to see a car flying in space, what was bizarre about the entire event was that Elon Musk could not refrain himself from staging a weird theater show that highlights the true agenda of his desires. The robot goes by the name Starman, and it was not a random choice made by Elon. Instead, it was inspired by his love for the eclectic artist David Bowie, whose song named Starman is the reason for the robot's name. The song Starman is written and sung by David Bowie. The song opens up with Bowie's environment. He describes fading in and out of consciousness, and whilst being in a place of peace, he is surrounded by people doing as he is doing. He continually goes on to describe his encounter with a star creature from cosmic space. He believes the celestial Starman has been communicating to believers like himself, and Starman is waiting for Bowie to join him in the sky. Knowing that Bowie is very much into the occult, we can conclude that Starman is in fact the bright star of his occult, known as Sirius, and since Bowie mentions that there has been communication with Starman, it could in fact be Bowie's extraterrestrial friends from space. However, David Bowie continues to refer to the Starman as a light that sparkles through his window, and tells his believers to keep following his messages but don't blow it. What does Starman mean by don't blow it? Is Starman asking David Bowie and his other occult believers not to reveal the secrets of Starman? Is David Bowie hiding the identity of Starman? Bowie tells his fellow Bohemian Hellraisers not to tell Papa about their interaction with the Starman because if Papa finds out, he will lock them in fright. Is Bowie referring to God and hell in this line? It is no secret that David Bowie was passionate about the occult, and he portrayed his love for the art in his own music and visuals.
Hi, in this video I'm going to cover some of David Bowie's occultism, some of the pictures that are around on the internet, and some of his recent videos. Here's a picture of David Bowie. He's drawing the Kabbalic Tree of Life. What's interesting about this picture is his outfit, which is designed for astral travel. In astral travel, you're supposed to have a silver line that brings you back to your body when you're going out of your body. And here he is in the astral travel posture. When David Bowie sings From Kether to Malkuth in the song Station to Station, he's not merely referencing the Kabbalah. He's also restating the magic of the Aeon of Horus, which consists in the realization of the identity of Kether and Malkuth, Numbers 11 and 10. The union in the consciousness of the magician produces Horus, the Lord of the Aeon, and that's according to Kenneth Grant, a disciple of Aleister Crowley. A black star represents the planet Saturn in ancient Judaic beliefs. At the beginning of the video Black Star by David Bowie, we can see a lone astronaut sitting on a rocky planet somewhere far above the moon. You can tell he's above the moon because the moon is occulting the sun, also suggesting that what's following will deal with occult themes, which it does.
Elon Musk knows all about David Bowie's special song.
On Mars, dawn and dusk are blue, and it's the sky. So the sky is blue in dawn and dusk, and red during the day. It's the opposite of Earth.
I was recently reading about Elon Musk, and he had posted a comment on Amber Heard's Instagram account, because she posted a picture of herself doing the mano cornuto, or the the rock and roll Moloch horns or whatever you want to call that. She was doing that, but she also did it in a strange way. It was up against one of her eyes, and she had one of her eyes closed. So that's like the combined symbol of the all-seeing eye and the Moloch horns. And Elon Musk commented, "Nice sign."
So Elon Musk tweeted, just kept working on my crown chakra and boom, in reference to the picture showing him with no hair and then suddenly having hair. And he said, don't let anyone tell you magic isn't real. Warning, extremely powerful, in all caps. So that's Elon Musk, right? The guy launching all the rockets this week. I mean, I don't know if you...
And Starman has so much reference to the mystical teachings that within the cargo of the Tesla, Elon has announced that there will be a music device that will play the actual song Starman by David Bowie. It is being reported that a specific portion of the song will be playing on loop. Elon Musk himself joked that it may be discovered by some future alien race. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke to Elon. Little information is given about this test flight in the media, other than the prospects of future developments within commercial and government satellite projects using SpaceX for its potential partnerships. But what must be remembered is that Elon Musk's SpaceX is a private American aerospace company, meaning that bizarre stunts like Elon's android-ridden Tesla are legitimate messages and part of the entire mission of this spectacular show.
We can actually send something that is almost 9 meters in diameter to orbit. So for example, if you want to do a new Hubble, you could send a mirror that has 10 times the surface area of the current Hubble. It can also go obviously much further than that, like for example the moon. Based on the calculations we've done, we can actually do lunar surface missions with no propellant production on the surface of the moon. So I think that would enable the creation of moon base alpha or some sort of lunar base. And it's 2017. I mean, we should have a lunar base by now. What the hell's going on? And then, of course, Mars, becoming a multi-planet species. Beats the hell out of being a single-planet species. That's not a typo. Although it is aspirational. So we've already started building the system. The Earth-Mars synchronization happens roughly every 2 years. So every 2 years there's an opportunity for to fly to Mars. So then in 2024 we want to try to fly 4 ships, 2 of which would be crewed, and 2 of which two cargo and two crew. Then build up the base, starting obviously with one ship, then multiple ships, then start building out the city, then making the city bigger, even bigger.
Do you think there is other intelligent life outside the Earth?
It seems probable, but I think this is one of the great questions in physics and philosophy, is where are the aliens?
Yeah, you're not of this world, bro.
Me?
You're the alien.
Oh.
Maybe they're among us, I don't know. Some people think I'm an alien. Not true. Not true.
But maybe we are alien.
Of course I'd say that,
maybe
wouldn't
we
I?
are alien, Ellen. I mean, if you look at this part of the world,
Yeah.
they believe that human beings are not from Earth. They came from somewhere else. Eve
Maybe.
and Adam came from somewhere else to Earth. So in a way, human being alien to this land. Do you think we'll make contact with alien within the next 50 years?
Well, that's a really tough one to say. I mean, if there are super intelligent aliens out there, they're probably already observing us. That would seem quite likely, and we just are not smart enough to realize it. But I can do some back-of-the-envelope calculations, and any advanced alien civilization that was at all interested in populating the galaxy, even without exceeding the speed of light, even if you're only moving at, say, 10 or 20% of the speed of light, you could populate the entire galaxy in, let's say, 10 million years. Maybe 20 million years max. This is nothing, in the grand scheme of things.
At the end of the tour, she just brought me to Elon's cubicle. It was so bizarre. But honestly, after sitting down and talking to him, I realized that I'm now convinced that he's an alien.
Elon Musk publicly announced his support in the arts and mystics of David Bowie, a tribute no less to the philosophy of the rock star's ideology, a belief that echoes in the hallways of the Royal Saudi halls, a belief that also has its merits in many holy scriptures that are claimed by planet Earth's religions. In referencing to this belief, Elon Musk, along with the richest financiers of Earth, see a brighter future ahead of colonizing space. With the efforts of Elon Musk and Earth's government-backed space program NASA, the Falcon Heavy has now reached a steady trajectory that SpaceX have now realized that the Tesla Roadster will not be heading for the asteroid belt as they previously predicted. Now Starman is back on course to Mars, where Starman will reach the closest within the next decade by October of 2020, coming within 4.3 million miles.
People who've been in the rocketry business for decades, who say about you that you don't know what you don't know. There are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it.
Having cut my teeth in rockets more than 50 years ago, I am not confident. The most experienced rocket engineers with whom I have spoken believe that it will require many years and substantial investment to reach the necessary level of safety and reliability.
Now is the time to overrule this administration's pledge to mediocrity.
Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
Yeah. It's difficult.
But when critics say you can't do this, your answer to them is,
we've done it.
Why are space heroes condemning Elon Musk for traveling into space? What's interesting is that both of these men have had their own personal encounters with aliens in space. Are they warning Elon Musk to stay away from communicating with these starmen?
What is this strange sound? Is this real or fake? Did this really come from the moon? According to a new Science Channel series, NASA's Unexplained Files, the sounds were so weird that the team debated whether or not to mention it to their superiors at NASA, out of fear that it could cast doubt on their suitability for future spaceflight. Out of radio contact with Earth and all alone on the far side of the moon, the astronauts were clearly not expecting to hear anything on their instrument.
You hear that whistling sound?
Before Mars was destroyed, they built huge tetrahedral pyramids. They built 3, 4, and 5-sided pyramids, eventually building a complex that was able to build a synthetic Merkaba. After 1 million years or so, it's been eroded, but the proof is there. Now, because the Martians were severed from the Unity consciousness, they couldn't create a living Merkaba. They simply used it as a tool. They created a synthetic Merkaba to travel in time and find a new home. A small group of Martians tried to get away from Mars before it was destroyed, and that place they found was Earth. About 65,000 years in our past. They saw this little vortex sitting there just pulling in life with no one in it. They didn't ask permission. Being part of the Lucifer experiment, they just said, alright, let's do it.
There is now speculation on why SpaceX has backed down from their original statement, and the answer once again lies in the philosophy of David Bowie and his occult. We see Elon Musk publicly talk about water being on planet Mars, when it was only a decade ago. Such a claim would have made you a tinfoil madman. Does this mean that the likes of NASA have already reached Mars? Elon Musk will take the new world into its next ascension, and life on Mars will soon be a real-life investment. But Elon Musk has his eyes set for the bigger picture. If you remember, Elon Musk has sent his own Starman into space. Is it because the Starman that Elon Musk is looking for was not on Mars? Elon Musk mentioned that Falcon Heavy was headed towards the asteroid belt that linked Mars to the planet Jupiter. Was this the plan all along? In 2015 it was revealed that NASA had obtained what seemed like coded signals coming from one of the moons of Jupiter. The leaked information had conspiracy theorists believe that NASA discovered an alien satellite on Jupiter's moon named back in the late 1980s.
Musk, what are your plans after Mars?
Well, I think I'll send men and women, but Venus would be Venus. I wouldn't recommend Venus. It's a hot, high-pressure acid bath. But Mars is, Mars is very doable. The Moon is doable. You could do some of the moons of Saturn and Jupiter.
However, for the corporations of the space industry, this meant endless seas of opportunities, as the discovery of this so-called signal from Jupiter's moon led to the discovery of water on another of Jupiter's moon, which is the smallest of the four.
This week, NASA announced even more evidence of plumes erupting from the surface of Jupiter's moon Europa. We're becoming increasingly sure that there's a vast ocean of water beneath Europa's icy crust.
Europa is the most likely place to find life in our solar system.
Known as Europa. Now talk has shifted to potential expansion of planet Earth's colonization efforts deeper into space. And once again the richest of the space exploration industry begin mining for their deepest, darkest secrets of the search for the Holy Grail to be among the stars and vast voids of space.
Look at some of the imagery from Mars. We have pyramids there. The great work of Richard Dolan, not Dolan, but Richard Hoagland and others like him. So pyramids are not even native to the Earth. They're found throughout the cosmos. Many of these people that have been plugged into these weird science black ops projects, they are utilized as operational assets. So we're talking about this kind of advanced technology that has been in the hands of these aerospace corporations and the military going back at least 70 years. So their understanding of the cosmos, their understanding about metallurgy, chemistry, propulsion systems, fuel sources, etc., are radically different than just about anyone you'll find here on the surface. So they're operating under a different playbook. They're looking at things from a perspective that would boggle the imagination of most people here on the surface. Nikola Tesla, for example, he would have been what they called in a time in the past a mystic, a visionary, a seer, because Nikola Tesla could literally see in other dimensions. These beings would manifest before him, and they would show him 3D images of all this technology. So he had to work really hard to stay grounded. What has managed to come to the surface from Nikola Tesla's efforts literally respond from other dimensions, other worlds. And we'll never know the totality of his work because he died under mysterious circumstances, and the authorities came in and they made off with his papers. But just from what he had publicly talked about and what has been written about, I mean, the potential was staggering. That Wardenclyffe Tower, whatever it was called, he wanted to plug into the Earth and use it as a big conductor, and all anyone would need anywhere would be an antenna to pick up as much energy as they ever wanted. Like, how would you meter something like that? How would you control people that had unlimited sources of energy? Because then they would turn around and start doing their own experiments. They would turn around and start to determine their own innate potential, their metaphysical potential, their mystical potential. They don't want that. That's why they've systematically wiped out all these indigenous cultures and the medicine men, the medicine women, and the shamans with them, and then imposed this horrific Catholic, Jesuit kind of Talmudic kind of control system, where anything that smacks of metaphysics is immediately lumped into the lunatic category, and the academics pile on and they say that's all nonsense, and then the shrinks pile on top of that. Meanwhile, in deep dark cloisters and in gentlemen's clubs, they practice the ceremonial magic, this Enochian magic. So there have been these underground streams of people that have this deep, vast knowledge that literally transcends space and time. They've hoarded it for themselves. They've systematically tried to eradicate those indigenous cultures that had developed their own organic, metaphysical, esoteric disciplines, which they were using to stay in harmony in the earth, and to heal the earth, to heal themselves, to heal animals. And they didn't want any of that. They want a total control system.
Could intelligent design be an option? You know, isn't it possible that it could be created or designed? This was asked unto Richard Dawkins. Here's what he said. Well, it could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, this is again one of the most famous, well-respected physicists in the world. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology, and designed the form of life that's seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now that is a possibility. That's an intriguing possibility, and I suppose that it is possible that you might find evidence for that. If you look at the details of biochemistry and molecular biology, you might find a signature of some sort of designer, and that designer could be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. But that higher intelligence itself would have had to come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. He is saying here, and this is the guy who says that if you believe in God, you're mentally ill. You're deluded.